When you're lying in a hospital bed, wired up to machines, tubes in your arms, and pain dulling your brain, you expect your parents to be there for you. To hold your hand. To fight for you. To protect what little you still have left. But my parents? They were too busy selling the only thing my grandparents ever left me. And I didn't find out until the day we buried the one person who would have stopped them. It started with a car accident. One stupid driver. One rainy night. One red light ignored. I don't remember the impact. Just waking up 3 days later in a white hospital room, bandages everywhere, and pain in places I didn't know could hurt. They told me I was lucky to be alive. My mom was there. Briefly. She brought me my phone and a charger, then disappeared with the excuse of needing rest. My dad came once, said, "Just focus on getting better, kiddo," but wouldn't look me in the eye. I assumed they were overwhelmed. That they didn't know how to deal with trauma. I gave them grace. Until grace ran out. About a week later, I noticed my grandfather's lawyer had called me 4 times. Grandpa passed away 2 years ago. Left me a piece of land he owned upstate. 5 acres. Nothing fancy, but mine. He'd left it in a trust, specifically in my name. He said it was a little freedom insurance. Told me, if your parents ever screw up, you'll have a place that's just yours. I always smiled when I remembered that. Until the voicemail. "Hi, this is Mr. Gardner, we're confirming the sale of the Metafield property. Just need your final signature to close." My heart dropped. "What sale?" I called back immediately. "You must be mistaken," I said. "I didn't agree to sell anything." He paused. "The documents were signed 2 weeks ago. Power of attorney signed by your father during your hospitalization." I felt like the wind got knocked out of me. He doesn't have power of attorney. That was for emergency medical decisions, only while I was unconscious. It was extended. The paperwork was notarized. That's when I knew. My dad forged it. Or pressured someone to. Used my accident as the perfect cover to steal what was mine. I checked my email. Nothing. No heads up. "No, we're thinking of selling it." Not even a fake apology. The land was gone. Sold for $170,000. Cash. Transferred to an account I didn't recognize. I texted my mom. No reply. Called my dad. Straight to voicemail. 2 days later, I was discharged from the hospital. And the day after that, I got a call that shattered everything. It was my aunt. She said one word, and my knees buckled. "Grandma. Gone. A heart attack in her sleep." Just like that. Grandma was my rock. My refuge. She was the only one in the family who actually asked how I was doing, not just if I was eating or working. She knew things about me my parents never bothered to learn. She knew I was trying to go back to school. That I had dreams bigger than this town. That Grandpa's land was my ticket out. And now she was gone. The funeral was a blur. Black clothes. Puffy eyes. Awkward hugs. My parents sat in the front pew, acting like model mourners. I stayed back, watching. Waiting. When the service ended, I cornered my father near the parking lot. "You sold the land." He blinked. "Now's not the time. You used the hospital to forge a document and sold my inheritance. Where's the money?" He looked around, then whispered. "We needed it. The house, the loans, Cody's tuition." "Cody?" I said, stunned. "You sold my future for your golden child's tuition." "It was a family decision," he said, coldly. "You were out of it. We did what had to be done." "No," I said. "You did what was easiest for you. Don't make a scene." "Not here." I stepped back, shaking. "Grandpa would be ashamed of you." He didn't deny it. Just turned and walked back toward the car. Back at home, I asked my aunt if Grandma had said anything before she passed. She nodded. She was worried. She kept saying something was off with your parents. That they were hiding something. She paused. Then she told me. Check the box in the sewing room if anything happens to me. That night, I drove to Grandma's house. Let myself in with the spare key she gave me years ago. The sewing room smelled like lavender and dust. In the corner, a cedar chest. Inside, buried beneath folded linens and knitting yarn, was a black lockbox. The key was taped underneath. Inside were photos, documents, and a flash drive labeled, "If they sell the land." I clicked it open at home, alone, heart pounding. There were voice recordings. One dated 2 weeks before my accident. It was Grandma, speaking quietly. "They're planning something. I overheard Diane talking to your father about needing cash fast. Mentioned forging something. If this goes through, this is your proof. Don't trust them. Not anymore." And then, another recording. This one was different. It wasn't Grandma's voice. It was my mom. "She knows. I think she knows we're forging the papers. If she says anything, we might have to hurry things along. He's already working on the notary." There was silence. Then a whisper. Maybe the hospital was a blessing in disguise. I replayed that recording at least 10 times. Maybe the hospital was a blessing in disguise. That voice, my mom's, didn't sound like the woman who read bedtime stories or made me soup when I was sick. It sounded calculated. Cold. Like she wasn't just talking about a tragedy. She was talking about an opportunity. I stared at the flash drive in my hand, suddenly afraid of what else might be on it. Grandma had clearly heard something. And not just about the land. She suspected everything. My accident. The forged documents. The timing of it all. Was it possible they hadn't just taken advantage of my hospitalization? Was it possible they'd planned it? The next morning, I called the lawyer handling the land sale. "Can you send me the security footage from when the power of attorney was signed?" He hesitated. "It's not typical." "Please," I said. "Something's wrong. I think my name was used illegally." He agreed to email me a clip from the notary's office, time-stamped 1 week after my accident. When the file came through, I opened it with shaking hands. It was clear as day. My dad. Sitting in a sterile office. Smiling. Sliding over papers. The notary glanced at them, then asked, "You're signing on behalf of your daughter?" "Yes," my dad replied without hesitation. She gave verbal consent. "We have medical documents to confirm." I paused the video. He didn't even blink. I forwarded the footage to Detective Valerie Jones, the officer who handled my car accident file. We'd spoken briefly after the crash, but I never questioned anything. Until now. "Detective, I know this might sound insane," I told her, "but I need you to take another look at my case. The footage. The car. The reports. Everything." She agreed to meet. We sat in a dusty conference room at the precinct. She had my file in front of her. "You were struck by a gray Toyota Corolla. The driver fled the scene. No witnesses. No camera angle clear enough to get a plate. Did you ever find the car?" "No." "Can you show me the crash location again?" She pulled up the photos. "The diagram." I pointed. "That intersection has 3 traffic cams. Why aren't there clearer shots?" She frowned. "Good question." She made a call to traffic control. 5 minutes later, she turned to me. 2 of the 3 cameras were down for maintenance that night. Power failure. And the third? Footage was never retrieved. She paused. "I'll look into it." That night, I dug into something else. My parents' finances. I didn't have direct access, but I remembered enough old passwords and had access to a joint account we once used for emergencies. I logged in. And what I found hit me like a brick. 1 week before my accident, there was a $14,000 transfer to a name I didn't recognize. Marcus L. Wade. Memo, consulting, transport services. What kind of consulting costs 14 grand? I searched the name and found a Marcus Wade with a history of auto shop ownership and one dismissed charge from 5 years ago. Vehicle tampering. I screenshotted everything. Every transfer. Every memo. And then I sent them to Detective Jones. Within an hour, she responded. Don't talk to anyone else about this. We're opening a parallel investigation. I'll be in touch. The next morning, I drove back to Grandma's house. I needed more answers. If she'd hidden the flash drive, maybe she hid other things too. I checked the closets, the kitchen, the bookshelves. Then I remembered the basement. I hadn't been down there in years. The light flickered when I pulled the chain. I scanned the room, boxes, tools, crates. Then I saw it. A weathered safe tucked behind a stack of blankets. The kind with a 4-digit lock. I tried her birthday. Grandpa's birthday. The house address. Nothing. I was about to give up, then I remembered something. The date she gave me the key to her house. The first day she said, "You can come here whenever you need." It worked. Inside were old letters, journals, and a small brown notebook labeled Conversations. I opened it. Page after page, in Grandma's neat cursive handwriting. Snippets of overheard talks. 6 out of 10, Diane says she'll handle it if the accident doesn't happen soon. June 13th, Tom told her now or never. Insurance is due. 6/15, they know I'm suspicious. I have to act fast. My hands were shaking. She documented everything. One note stopped me cold. I saw the garage door open after midnight. Tom was on the phone whispering something about brake lines. Next morning, Diane acted normal. I should tell her. But what if I'm wrong? She wasn't wrong. I called Detective Jones again. They planned it, I said. They sabotaged my car. She sighed. We found something too. Remember the third traffic cam? Footage was downloaded. But someone requested it be archived before the investigation began. Who? We're working on confirming, but the request came from inside the county clerk's office. And guess who works there? Who? Diane's cousin. I hung up, mind spinning. They'd created the perfect crime. An accident. Sold my inheritance. Buried the only person who suspected them. And still smiled through the funeral like nothing happened. But I had Grandma's notebook. And now, I had enough to expose them. That night, just before bed, I got an email from an unknown address. No subject. Just a message. Stop digging. Grandma was too old to make it through the night. You won't be so lucky. Attached was a photo. Me, leaving the precinct. Someone had been watching. I stared at the email. Grandma was too old to make it through the night. You won't be so lucky. Attached was a photo of me leaving the police station. Someone was watching. Not just watching, threatening. Until that moment, I thought I was collecting evidence. That I was just exposing what my parents had done. I didn't realize I was walking into a web. One that had been spun around me before the accident ever happened. Detective Jones put me on a temporary alert list, meaning if anything else strange happened, I was to report it immediately. I sent her the email. The photo. Grandma's notebook. Her reply came fast. We're moving forward with subpoenas. But this goes deeper than your parents. We suspect multiple people coordinated this. Like who? I asked. We're working on it. Stay safe. Stay with someone you trust. I packed a bag and left my apartment that night. There were cameras outside. I hadn't noticed them before. A black car across the street. Same one from 2 days earlier. I stayed with my mom's sister, Aunt Renee. The only one in my family who never played favorites. She never married, no kids, just a loyal dog named Blue and a house filled with books and alarm systems. She hugged me tighter than anyone had since Grandma passed. You're not alone, she whispered. Whatever your parents have done, ends with you. The next morning, I got another email. This time from the bank. Unusual activity alert, new account opened under your name. Business checking, balance, $9,500, deposit from Wade Consulting. Wade. That name again. The man my father paid, the one tied to my accident. I called the bank immediately and froze the account. They said the application had used a scanned version of my ID, one that was emailed in. I checked with Detective Jones. She ran the IP address. It was traced back to a local UPS store. Guess who had a P.O. box there? My stepmother, Diane. They weren't stopping. They were still creating accounts in my name. Still trying to ruin me financially, possibly even build a false trail to frame me. This wasn't about inheritance anymore. This was about total erasure. Later that day, I got a text from an unknown number. Meet me tonight. I have what you're looking for. 8 p.m., bring no one. It included an address, an old service road behind a now abandoned rest stop off Highway 12. Every part of me said no. But I was tired of running. Tired of looking over my shoulder. Tired of waiting for someone else to take action. So I went. Aunt Renee followed me in a separate car, just in case. We parked nearby. I stepped out into the cool air, heart hammering. The place was exactly what you'd expect from a trap. Empty. Silent. Tension crawling in the shadows. Then I saw him. A man in a ball cap and hoodie, standing near a dumpster. He held something in his hand, a flash drive. You came alone? He asked. What do you have? He stepped closer and handed me the drive. Everything. The crash order. The transaction logs. The audio. Audio? Of them planning it. You'll want to sit down. Why are you giving this to me? He hesitated. Because I was hired to make it look like an accident. But I never touched your car. I just took the money. You were supposed to. Yes, he cut in. And I didn't. But someone else might have. I backed away slowly. You need to go, he said. They're planning something bigger now. Something public. What do you mean? But he was already walking away. Just open the file. And watch your back. Back at Renee's house, I plugged the flash drive into her laptop. There were several folders. One marked, audio. Another, bank transfers. A third, insurance. But the last one? Photos. I opened the audio first. It was rough. Grainy. But I recognized the voices. My mom. My dad. Diane. Dad, if she dies, it gets divided. If she lives, she gets everything. Mom, it has to look like an accident. Diane, Marcus knows what to do. We wire the money once it's done. I stopped the audio. Hands trembling. They weren't just hoping I didn't survive. They were banking on it. Then I opened the insurance folder. A scanned document, signed 2 months before the accident. A life insurance policy. In my name. Beneficiaries, my mom and dad. Value, $250,000. They took out a policy on me. Weeks before the crash. I couldn't cry anymore. There were no tears left. Only fire. Only rage. Only purpose. They didn't just steal my land. They tried to erase me for money. Just then, I heard the front door rattle. It wasn't Aunt Renee. She was still at the store. I turned off the lights, closed the laptop, hid behind the couch. Footsteps entered the hallway. Someone was inside. And they weren't knocking. The footsteps crept closer. I was crouched behind Aunt Renee's couch, laptop closed, flash drive in my pocket, holding my breath so tight my lungs burned. Someone had broken in. And I had a terrifying guess who it was. The footsteps paused near the kitchen. I heard the sound of drawers opening. Then a voice. Come out. I don't want to hurt you. It was my father. My throat closed. You shouldn't have gone digging, he said louder. You're ruining everything. Again. He didn't sound angry. He sounded tired. Like a man trying to fix something he still thought was his to fix. I stayed silent. My hand trembled near my phone, dialing Detective Jones with a single tap before sliding it under the couch. He walked into the living room. Stopped. We locked eyes. What are you doing here? I asked, trying to sound stronger than I felt. I came to protect you, he said. Before you make a mess that can't be cleaned up. You already made the mess. You, Mom, Diane. You weren't supposed to wake up, he snapped. Then quickly corrected himself. From the hospital, I mean. His slip said everything. He knew. I stood slowly, making sure he didn't see my phone lighting up under the couch. The call connected. I prayed she was listening. Why the insurance policy? I asked. Why the crash? He sighed, sat down. We were broke. That land could have saved all of us. And you, well, you've always been stubborn. Always needed to learn the hard way. So you tried to kill me. No, he said too quickly. It was a way to move forward. You were in the way. Your grandmother wouldn't let us sell. We had no choice. You always had a choice, I said quietly. You just chose greed. The door opened behind us. Aunt Renee. She froze when she saw him. You need to leave. Now. This is a family matter, he snapped. You stopped being family when you signed her life away, she said, stepping between us. I've already called the police. So have I whispered. They've been listening the whole time. He looked at me, the first flicker of panic behind his eyes. It's over, I said. You're done. He bolted out the front door before Renee could block him. We didn't follow. Didn't need to. Because seconds later, Detective Jones pulled into the driveway. Sirens behind her. Officers jumping out. They got him 2 houses down. Back at the station, I handed over everything. The flash drive. Grandma's journal. Bank statements. Audio files. Insurance policy. Samantha from the notary's office also came forward, said she'd been coerced into stamping documents she knew were fraudulent. She named Diane. A warrant was issued for both of my parents, and Diane. The trial took months. Painful months. I had to listen to audio of my own mother saying she just wanted it all to be over. To watch them try to pin everything on each other. My father said Diane planned the crash. Diane said my mother forged the documents. My mother blamed my father. But the evidence didn't care who blamed who. The jury found them guilty of conspiracy to commit fraud, attempted insurance fraud, identity theft, attempted manslaughter. Sentences varied. My father got 18 years. Diane, 12. My mother, 10. I didn't attend every court session. Some days, I couldn't stomach it. But the day the verdict was read, I was there. And when my father turned to look at me one last time, I didn't blink. I just stood. Whole. Alive. And free. The land couldn't be recovered, it was already sold. But the restitution from the case helped me rebuild. I used part of it to start a small nonprofit in Grandma's name, the Metafield Fund, to help young adults recover from financial abuse and coercive control. I get letters now. Emails. From strangers. People who say, "This happened to me too, and I thought I was crazy." They're not crazy. They're just survivors. As for Grandma, she saved me. Even in death, she refused to be silenced. She left behind her truth, and gave me the tools to speak mine. I still visit her grave once a month. I bring a cup of coffee, one for me, one for her. I sit. I talk. And before I leave, I always whisper, "They tried to bury me, but you made sure I knew how to dig." This isn't just a story about inheritance. It's a story about survival. About seeing red flags even when they wear the same last name. About knowing that blood doesn't entitle someone to your life. And it's a story about love. Because sometimes, the person who saves you is the one everyone else forgets to thank.